You know, it's been a while since I binge watched a show for enjoyment. Fuck. I need to make a video on this.
Auf Wiedersehen, motherfucker.
Superhero shows are an oversaturated market. Every network wants its own The Flash or Daredevil, but as each network tries to reverse engineer these shows, they all end up being samey. Each Arrowverse show features a protagonist who can hold their own, but is surrounded by a group of people giving them orders. The Marvel Netflix shows all have phenomenal first seasons, not you, Iron Fist, but shit the bed in their second seasons as Marvel's television department tried to reverse engineer the Avengers' success to build up to the Defenders, which ended up being a massive disappointment. Then you had the superhero shows that tried to cater to a teenage audience with Cloak and Dagger and The Runaways, both of which failed to find audiences and were canceled in the wake of Disney Plus becoming a thing. Then there are the who asked for this shows like Powerless, a sitcom which focuses on insurance agents cleaning up after C-list DC characters, or Titans, the hilarious edgelord take on Teen Titans which served as the flagship show for DC Universe.
Fuck Batman.
That line still cracks me up. But while looking through HBO Max, there was a light at the end of the tunnel. A superhero show that combines the meta humor of Deadpool, the pathos of Breaking Bad, the weirdness of Twin Peaks, the well-timed needle drops of Guardians of the Galaxy, and the absolute perfect chemistry of the cast of Stranger Things. I say this without hyperbole. Doom Patrol is the best superhero show on television. This should have been the flagship show for DC Universe, not Titans. I think DC knows this, as this is so far the only DC Universe show that got ported over to HBO Max. Hopefully this is a litmus test to bring the other DC Universe shows over. I know what you're thinking. Isn't Doom Patrol the Kmart brand of X-Men? Not even close. Like how Hydrox came before Oreo, Doom Patrol actually precedes the X-Men by a mere 3 months. Doom Patrol and X-Men share a lot of similarities. Both comics feature leaders in wheelchairs. Both comics see these teams speared by humans. Both comics are primarily set in huge mansions. But while the X-Men leaned into allegory, the Doom Patrol leaned into the misfit angle. Doom Patrol saw a second life from Grant Morrison's famed run from 1989 to 1994, which serves as the direct influence of the show, and more recently with My Chemical Romance frontman Gerard Way writing for the comic. The Doom Patrol consists of Cliff Steele, aka Robot Man, a hotshot race car driver who gets into a fatal car accident. The only thing left of Steele was his brain, which got put into a robot. Then there's Rita Farr, aka Elastigirl. Yes, that's right! Disney took the name Elastigirl for The Incredibles. A 1950s movie starlet with a massive ego who, while filming a movie, falls into a swamp and sucks in volcano gas, causing her to melt under stress. Kay Chalice, aka Crazy Jane, is a woman with 64 distinct personalities, all with different powers that come out at random. Larry Trainer, aka Negative Man, was a test pilot in the 1960s who gets absorbed by radiation in space, which causes him to crash. That radiation is what keeps him alive, but he has frequent out-of-body experiences that he can't control. Doom Patrol, the series, started as a backdoor pilot in an episode of Titans called Doom Patrol. Let me tell you, if this were the actual pilot, I would have hated this show. Somehow Niles Calder can walk, Larry Trainer is a culinary frat bro, and my god, I fucking hate Titans. This episode of Titans is so full of exposition dumps that it becomes a parody of superhero shows. The kicker of this episode? It was written by Jeff Johns, a DC Comics writer, who recently came under fire by Ray Fisher for allowing Joss Whedon to be an asshole. I want to talk about the pilot episode. Aside from the pilot episode, I will be refraining from major spoilers, because in a perfect world, this would be the new Game of Thrones. I'm going to go on record and say this is easily one of the best pilot episodes of the 21st century. It's right up there with Game of Thrones, The Wire, Daredevil, Mad Men, Scrubs, and The Good Place for all-time great TV pilots in the 21st century. The pilot has to do three things: introduce these semi-obscure characters to general audiences, set the tone of the show, and deliver a satisfying payoff. Where Doom Patrol succeeds is by focusing on these characters as people, not superheroes. Through the course of this show, you get glimpses into their lives. Larry Trainor's all-American hero trope is subverted by having him be a closeted homosexual in the 1960s while married with a wife and kids. Rita Farr's career gets destroyed immediately after a mysterious gas enters her lungs. Cliff Steele is traumatized by the loss of his family, or so he thinks. It's implied that Crazy Jane was sexually assaulted at a young age. You get little glimpses into their lives that really don't mess with the pacing of this show. Therein lies its brilliance. The Marvel Netflix shows would stop dead mid-season to jam a bunch of origin stories into 2 episodes, thus fucking with the pacing of the show. Doom Patrol straight out of the gate addressed my concerns with the oversaturation of superhero shows. Going into this, I was not expecting this show to break the fourth wall, much less have Alan goddamn Tudyk smash it with the very first line.
Ready for a story about superheroes? More TV superheroes, just what the world needs.
Doom Patrol manages to be both hilarious and heartbreaking at the same time. When watching this pilot, I couldn't help but think, this was what Taika Waititi was trying to go for with Thor Ragnarok. It's a show that takes itself seriously, but not too seriously. Thor Ragnarok went all in on the Thor Hulk sitcom aspect and not, the impending destruction of Asgard! Which is why I still stand firm in saying Thor Ragnarok is the most overrated film in the MCU, but I digress. But then there's the climax of the pilot that serves as the payoff, when they all band together to stop Rita from destroying the town. I actually love the fact that this is an homage to B-movies, specifically The Blob, calling back to the fact that Rita Farr was a movie star in the 1950s, but this time she's the monster. Before becoming Elastigirl, she wanted an African amputee fired off of Forbidden Congo, the last film she did before her fate ended. She learns that Forbidden Congo was a colossal failure from a waitress who knows of Rita Farr's work, which causes her to turn into a blob. So the team bands together to stop her from doing harm, all while mysterious Donkey shows up and opens up an interdimensional portal. Believe me, that's not even the weirdest thing that happens in the show. Which goes into the main thing I love about Doom Patrol. It's not afraid to experiment. Doom Patrol is shown in a 2:20 aspect ratio. A 2:20 aspect ratio isn't all that common, but 3 films that are bona fide classics use that exact aspect ratio.
I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus!
It's not just the use of aspect ratios. A subplot takes place that involves a sentient, genderqueer street named Danny, and it doesn't feel out of place. In fact, Danny the Street is important to the overall story. Before the alt-right gets out their tiki torches, just know that Danny the Street is canonical in DC Comics lore. There's a lot I want to talk about with what this show does brilliantly, but I don't want to go into heavy spoilers. So here's a scene without context that made me laugh my ass off for 6 straight minutes.
We're fucking coming, man!
I don't think I laughed as loud and as hard at anything in any superhero media as much as I did in this scene. I had tears coming down my eyes. I had to rewind a key scene because I was laughing so hard. It's that great of a scene. Which goes to my next point. Doom Patrol may quite possibly have the best ensemble cast ever assembled. Not only that, but the chemistry of this cast is also impeccable. It's funny. I love Timothy Dalton in everything I see him in, except as James Bond.
Move this man!
I loved him in The Rocketeer. I loved him on Penny Dreadful. He's my favorite non-Simon Pegg and Nick Frost character in Hot Fuzz. His Niles Calder is absolutely fantastic. You can't get a good read on the guy, and that's what makes him fascinating as a character. April Bowlby's Rita Farr is a great character. Bowlby looks exactly like a 1950s movie star, right down to her voice, where you can hear hints of Katharine Hepburn and Bette Davis. I got a feeling her character is going to be awesome in season 2, and I like that she has a long game arc in this show. When Cyborg was introduced in episode 2, I was skeptical. It just had that air of studio interference. What's happening? Yeah, if you could just put a superhero people recognize into the show, that would be great. However, Jovian Wade's Cyborg actually fits and works. His Cyborg wants to be his own man, and his father is pulling the strings. Matt Bomer brings layers to Larry Trainor. He has the most dramatic moments of the show, and he nails them. But I want to talk about the 3 MVPs of this show in detail.
How does it feel to be a nobody?
Alan goddamn Tudyk. When it comes to character actors, Alan Tudyk is the Robert De Niro of character actors. He's the character actor everyone knows by name, be it as Steve the Pirate in Dodgeball, Wash in Firefly, or K2SO in Rogue One. Alan Tudyk is one of the most versatile actors out today. Mr. Nobody may be his best performance to date. Tudyk has to do many things with this role. Be menacing, serve as the narrator, be convincing, and more importantly, humanize this character. Tudyk nails every facet of Mr. Nobody. His Mr. Nobody looks like a Tron character infected with a virus. That looks so cool to me. Even in human form, you feel extremely sorry for him, given that he was a doormat prior to becoming Mr. Nobody. When you can bring humanity to a Nazi, you have done your job, especially given the current times we're in right now. He also serves as the fourth wall breaking narrator. Without going into spoilers, the writers of this show do a lot of fun things with his narration. Tudyk just hits these lines of dialogue out of the park. So let's talk about Brendan Fraser. If you want to talk about actors that deserve better, it's Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser as Cliff Steele is letter-perfect casting. The man went through a messy divorce and getting sexually assaulted by a member of the Hollywood Foreign Press, which sent him into a deep depression. He has since bounced back doing guest spots on shows such as The Affair and Trust. I loved this guy since I first saw him in Encino Man when I was 8. Brendan Fraser, much like Tudyk, is an extremely versatile actor. He can be a romantic lead, a funny guy, and an action hero. You need an actor like this for Cliff Steele. And he fucking nails it. When we do see Fraser on screen, we don't see the 90s matinee idol of the Mummy. We see a broken down, dumpy looking, middle-aged man with a mullet. When he is having sex with the maid, he looks like he is not enjoying it at all. His wife wants nothing to do with him and even reveals that she is cheating on him with his pit boss during a crucial race. It's through his eyes we get glimpses into the Doom Patrol in the pilot. What this show does with Fraser's voice is nothing short of astounding. Though Robot Man physically is played by an entirely different person, a la Darth Vader, Fraser's voice humanizes this lumbering robot. So let's talk about who, in my opinion, is the star of the show and is rightfully top billed. Diane Guerrero. Here's a show that features a former James Bond, Wash from Firefly, a man women wanted to play Christian Grey, and Rick O'Connell from the Mummy movies. and I'm calling a relative unknown from Orange is the New Black the star of the show. Diane Guerrero is giving James McAvoy a run for his money. Watching her in this show makes me wish we got a crossover movie with Crazy Jane and the Horde. Not only does she have fantastic chemistry with Robot Man and all of the cast, but she absolutely nails every personality. As the show progresses, she is the most fascinating character on the team. The best episodes of Season 1 all revolve around Crazy Jane. To go from a moshing tattooed punk rocker to a 5-year-old girl to the stereotypical female lead in a 90s chick flick with the power to make anyone fall in love with her is an impossible task, especially for episodic television. Diane Guerrero just crushes it as Crazy Jane. She should be nominated for every single major television award for her performance. But because this is a superhero show, that isn't going to happen. Diane Guerrero should be a big-name movie star, and I'm glad she's on this show. Having watched the first few episodes of Doom Patrol Season 2, I can confidently say that this is the best superhero show on television. There is no clear drop-off of quality, and it's still as funny and weird as ever. This show is going to be hard to watch weekly, but I'm going to make the effort every Thursday to watch this show. While fake deep edgelords on Twitter are recutting Shazam, because apparently Billy Batson getting rejected by his biological mother, and the 7 deadly sins executing Savannah's brother and father wasn't dark enough, I take comfort in the fact that DC actually took a swing at this show and did great things with it. All while being dark, experimental, and actually letting characters drop F-bombs. Ahem, Disney! I'm looking to do more deep dive stuff like this. Would you want to see more deep dive stuff like this? More video essay format kind of videos? That being said, be sure to like, comment, share, spread the word of New Realms Media. Follow me on all my socials at New Realms Media. And until then...